United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, I make a motion to approve the agenda, the minutes, and there is no liquor license at this time.
Okay, there's been a motion made to approve. We're going to rearrange the agenda according to people that are here so they can move on with their daily activities. How's that? I have to state them, what we're gonna move, or
The 28B and the chapter 6 land use.
the 28E resolution and,
So it will be right after Jake, right?
No, right after the public hearing.
right after the public hearing.
Oh, okay, right.
Okay, there are no liquor license. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I attended the SWPCO's annual meeting last week in Harlan, Iowa at, I never could pronounce the place.
Yeah. It's kind of like a conference center.
It's a nice conference center, very nice place to meet
It is
in downtown Harlan. We had a lot of people that's been there for 10, 15 years. I've been on the board long enough to have hired everybody that's on the office up there. So, SWPCO, their amount of people, counting drivers and stuff, they have 116 employees. There's 60, I think there's 60 some drivers. The rest of it is basically office, and the biggest growing thing in the office is planning and zoning department of, for Southwest Iowa. They're doing for lots of small towns and stuff. It's been put out that if you don't have some kind of organization in your planning and zoning and your ordinances are not up to date, you cannot qualify for FEMA grants. And it makes no difference whether it's the county roads department or anybody else in the county. If we're not up to date on them, you can ask for them, but you probably won't get them. So just some other issue the government's coming up with. Another one I attended was the city P&Z, where we're working on their land use plan and stuff throughout the city. The biggest thing we're working on is small houses or tiny houses, wherever you want to put them. What size, it's talked about from 800 square feet down to 400 square feet. And I got news for 400 square feet to me does not look like a place to take a nap. Well, I take a nap and stuff. But we're looking at places where they might fit in the town of Glenwood. But we're going to present that to the council probably next Tuesday.
And I too went to the SWPCO annual banquet in Harlan. Very interesting. And as I have been drove for special needy for the school transportation, I can't imagine what SWPCO has to put up with every town, different schedules, enough drivers, make everybody happy. Schools are desperate enough, and I just sat there and just marveled at SWPCO that they can maneuver all the small towns and all the transportation. And it's just mind-boggling, and it's wonderful. And like Richard said, it was very, very informative and very nice. So therefore, the next day, Richard and I had a budget meeting here, 8:30 amendment, something that you have to do. And then Saturday was a parade there at Lake Ohana. It was from the Republican Central Committee, very well received. Congressman Randy Feenstra was there as kind of like the Grand Marshal. He said a wonderful speech, gave us all a Trump sign, a lot of energy, and the people all around Ohana sat in their driveway and waved and had their little bags, and people threw out candy. So it was like a mini homecoming. So it was very well received and a good turnout. So it was fun. Yeah. And that's it.
Okay, Mr. Jacob, we're up to you.
All right, no action items today. We have our safety meeting tomorrow in the morning, starts about 7:15. And then the state trooper, Jay Kilpatrick, is coming, around 8 to set up, start his presentation at 8:30. I said that'll probably take about 3 hours. And so then that'll bring us right into our potluck lunch at 11:30 or noon. You guys are welcome to attend.
Tell you what, you've got some guys that are pretty good chefs.
Oh, yeah. We throw
Pretty
down.
neat, yeah.
I'll have to agree, they have pretty good chow down there. I
Yes,
think
they do.
try and outdo one another. No,
Yeah, last time it's been, I think, 2 years, we had a trooper come in for a safety meeting and it was, I guess, well received is a good word. The guys really liked it. And I asked if he could come back because, those troopers, they just have so much knowledge. They're, enforcing the motor vehicles on the road. So weight limits and pre-trip inspections and different things with tires and all that, load securement. So they can ask him in real time, lots of questions, and then we're gonna have some sort of equipment on the trailer in the shop and then the dump truck, so we're gonna do the actual walkthrough for pre-trip inspections and walk through securing the load properly and legally, so it'll be really good for the guys.
well, I don't know how much authority, who we're gonna have to look at, but I've had some people from the city of Malvern complain, and I can't say as I blame them. The loads of dirt that are going through the town when the dump trailers are level full, I mean, it's running off the sides. That's how much they're hauling through town.
They're saying that is,
Well, that's coming off, they gotta travel on some county road down there someplace, on the county highway and stuff, from where the pit is, around where they're dumping. And even the tandem trucks are clear full. I mean, they're loading them tremendously. They're trying to get it done, but, somebody says, our streets are in bad enough shape the way it is, and this is going on, and who do we talk to?
Richard, are they going to that subdivision on the outskirts?
so it's dirt.
So-
Yeah, say, if it's coming from the quarry, there's weight tickets.
Right, no, this is dirt,
And where are they getting it from?
where Lee Dinklage lives, there's a gentleman that bought a piece of property right across the road, and
It's Mar Avenue.
in Mar,
Yeah, I think it's Mar. We sent them a notice of violation. They came in on Monday to pick up permit applications. They didn't have any permits for extraction where they're hauling from. Stuff out, the
Right,
stuff,
he did
They need
know.
a grading permit too.
they will need it.
Good for you.
Well, it sounds like it's not us, so then it would be calling like this trooper,
okay,
motor vehicle enforcement. And I don't know if he's one, but I know some of those senior guys, they can tell just by looking at a truck if it's overloaded. They'll pull them over.
they just rebuilt the two intersections in the town of Malvern, and everybody's complaining, we spent all of our road money on those two intersections, and now they're tearing them up with the amount of weight and stuff that's going through them, so.
And that's why those permits are what they are for.
But if it is legal load limit, then it goes back on Malvern. They could have let it go their road, but that's up to the mayor.
Just questions.
Speaking of Malvern, we finally got power completely cut off to our shop, and our guys should be demoing today. So, probably take the rest of the week, maybe a day next week or so, and then Hughes Construction can get in there and
Good.
start building our new building. We decided to just color match the new building we're putting up for the county's fair, county fair. So
That look nice.
white with green trim being our color green. So yeah, let's just go with that.
That'd be good.
The FEMA buyout properties, there was a little bit of confusion there at one point. You guys maybe gave permission to someone else to plant some natives, and then it was, we got sprayed or something like that, remember? Kyle Anderson, our roadside manager, just wanted me to put in a request that for native plantings and that, if you don't give permission to other people, just let us know and we'll do it. And that way, just kind of, we're not trying to keep track. It's just, if there's natives there, we're in charge of it, between me and conservation. So we get a certain amount of free seed from the state,
Okay.
being that we have a plan. And so we're looking for areas like that. With our adopted area plan, we're eligible, and then we have to record, they give us I think right now, like, we're basically looking, we got 10 acres of seed, we're looking to put down native grasses and stuff, so those are great candidates, it's ready to go, we have the room, and then we report to the state, this is where we put the seed, and then it makes us eligible to get more, so.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And I've been working with FEMA, the state, FLIPCO. They say that there's roughly between $235,000 and $250,000 that somebody don't know where it went, or what happened to it. And they can't prove they paid us, we can't prove we received it. So we're all standing in limbo, looking at one another, pointing fingers. And John and FLIPCO, they've looked through all the records and stuff, and they still zero balance out. They handle all the money that came in and went out. They was our agent and stuff, so. I suppose when FEMA comes back, or Terry Brown, he calls again, we'll have another conversation,
Yeah.
but I can't get anybody from the government, they go, what are you talking about? Well, I mean, okay, to me, it's a pretty good chunk of money, to them, maybe not, I don't know. But that hell has to get straightened out before we can get clear title to all the 72 sites down there.
So Jake, what is the criteria for sowing the seeds? I mean, is it so big of a plot, all in a ditch?
Basically on county property, and it
Just on
doesn't have to be
county
10 acres all at once. It's just, they give us this much seed, they wanna know that's going to good use, so then we have to report back to them. This is where we put it, this is the area and all that.
So there was a family that we gave the okay to plant these native
I don't
grasses?
know the whole story, but
And we,
I don't
you
know.
know,
It was, people that have some bees and they'd asked if they could plant some,
Some pollinator
yeah,
grasses.
let's just over there.
got
They
it,
did.
got it. Well, we didn't know, right?
Yeah, and no, it's not a big deal, and
And
we didn't cross
It
paths
wasn't
at all.
them,
Yeah, we didn't
Something-
cross
Oh,
paths at all.
Got it.
but just in case they should have known, they should have been aware
But
of
just
that.
in case in the future, if they ask, they'd probably better say, no, but we'll do it for you.
Yeah,
Just
okay.
so we can control it.
Right.
That's all I have. We'll let you off easy today.
Well, no, he might start up again after you get going, you got a public hearing that should have started.
Yeah, I just had a couple more equipment stuff, but I go with that.
Okay.
I make a motion to open up the public hearing at 8:19 for the Mills County zoning ordinances.
I'll second that motion. Roll call.
Crouch,
Yes.
Benton,
Yes.
Okay, sir, we're ready for discussion. Anybody, Larry, or you guys want to come up to the table, or you want to sit back there? or-
Larry,
What's that?
you want to come up to the front?
No.
Please.
I can hear you. I don't need a hearing aid.
Okay.
So this is a continuation of the update for our Mills County zoning ordinances. We're doing this in conjunction with our land use plan, which After going through that process, one of the pieces that came up was that, or one of the action goals we had was to update the county zoning regulations to reflect the recommendations in the future land use plan, and complete a comprehensive review and update of the corridor overlay district to ensure the regulations meet the needs and goals of the county. And so as described to you last week, after going back through and looking at what that overlay district was doing for Mills County, there was a base zoning of highway commercial that is there. And that, in conjunction with our adopted building codes, I believe would really regulate any activity in those areas. The corridor overlay went as far as really becoming design standards for that district. Now, there were some 5 different land uses listed out in the corridor overlay district that they did not want in the corridor overlay district, or they wanted them as conditional uses in the corridor overlay district that were not the same in highway commercial. And so I did modify highway commercial to mimic those land uses that were listed out in the corridor overlay district. So now that's reflected in highway commercial, but I think it'd be a good step forward for Mills County. These zoning ordinances are things, you put them in place, try them for a while, see if they're getting you to where you hope to see the county at. And I think this was just one of them that was just a little bit too restrictive for that area. And hopefully we'll see some development happen in that region.
So primarily with our restricted overlay, it consists of planting so many trees and having it landscaped a certain way, and they didn't like that. I mean, that's basically why we kind of changed things around.
Right, it was fairly restricted in those areas, but we do still, and it's not like the landscaping aspects of it would not necessarily go away. We have landscaping and buffer yards within the zoning ordinance already, and those will remain there.
They will remain.
So the landscaping standards are there, the buffer yard standards are there.
Okay.
So I think that those pieces we're still in a good spot.
Okay. Whatever we can do to protect our hills.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Matt.
Are there any comments, Larry? You got anything you want to bring up, or?
Yeah, I know Andrew's been involved in Matt's work, that full conference in Matt, but remember, we spent a lot of time on this for about 18 months with the JEO, and we put this together about, I don't know how many years ago.
20.
6? It wasn't 20.
Yeah, it was.
20 years ago for the overlay?
It was when Joe and Ron got on the board. I was with 2 years with the other 2 people, and then when we got started us 3 together.
I think
Joe-
the overlay district, though, remember Rick Alley was involved in JEO, it's probably been 10 years, it could be 10 years. But the reason we created that, or the reason we did it, was we had entities down there like the rodeo, we had the smoke shop, and you bring in things like Agrivision and Los Hills Harley and Siouxland Trailers and all the things. And they don't like that stuff. I mean, they don't like what it looks like. And so what we wanted to be careful of is we certainly want growth in the county. But what kind of growth do you want? I mean, are we going to not be picking and choosing and just let anything come in? The good example was the Bass plant that came. Remember, they wanted to go in the overlay district.
Right.
At first, they wanted to go right in front of the interstate. We're going, we got all this, we got a hotel that's looking to come. It didn't happen, but that will still be something. They weren't going to be very excited about concrete trucks driving down 190th Street past the hotel. So we just want to make sure that's the one issue. And I think, Matt, you've addressed it. I think you're saying we still have authority to do some things. And I think we all agree on the economic development group that the restrictions were too strict. And at one point, the Confluence was in here doing your comprehensive plan. I think they talked about doing a modification.
Right.
Apparently that didn't happen.
I just don't want that area to be full of warehouses.
Warehousing would probably be what it's ideally for. I mean, I'd love to see Walmart distribution centers here. I mean, I'd like to see what it looks like personally, that's the person, I assume those things can happen.
Right, what you're talking about with concrete batch plants and things that, the overlay district, all those land uses that the overlay district did not allow, we moved those into highway commercial, so same thing, you couldn't go and throw in a concrete batch plant there.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, and as the batch plant turned out, I think most people would agree that we got them located in maybe a better location. Down at the old Keywood building south of PJ needed something to be sitting there that helps PJ. And it's probably a better location with more industrial stuff sitting down there than there is commercial. So, and then I think the bigger issue, quite frankly, is the enforcement issue. Since we have it now, Matt's here, so thank goodness, I know we had Darren before. That's the biggest issue. I mean, folks come in here and they don't get I don't know what this other deal was, but they don't get permits, because nobody's enforcing it. So to me, the most critical thing is enforcement. We got to, if we're going to have the rules and regulations, let's enforce them. And if they want a variance, they go before planning and zoning and get your variance or get your exceptions. But in my opinion, if we fall behind sometimes because we don't enforce things, all of a sudden something pops up and go, oh, see, that didn't know what was going on. Well, so it's good that we have Matt here looking that stuff over, but. So, I mean, that's just an overview. Andrew's probably filled you in on all that kind of stuff, but hopefully we continue to do that. I think everybody would agree, most of the things that are down there now today, I mean, the rodeo guys have kind of moved over by, and they had to meet some requirements, so they can't just pop buildings up with little lean-to sheds that look kind of terrible. You got to do some certain.
That's happening right now.
Down at their place?
No, not at the Mexican rodeo down there. There's a guy doing business out of a shed right now.
Where's that?
Down just north of,
Harley
Ag
Davidson.
Division. What's that?
They're just, rodeos kind of north of Harley Davidson or west.
Yeah, you're not talking.
No, I'm talking about, this is the old
No, this
rodeo, the old rodeo site, yeah. But
So he's doing something on that site?
that's not one, it's another guy, but I mean, I think he's waiting, he's trying to get a permit or something, but that is.
Well, I mean, I think that's the one that, at least from an economic development standpoint, I know Andrew's done a lot with it, but I know we talked at our community meeting, so we just want to make sure that we're not going backwards. But it sounds like we're not. It sounds like we have things in place that help us enforce.
And you're right, I feel like you're hitting it right on the head with the enforcement aspect of it, and that's like the next iteration of what we gotta go back then and say, the county had enforcement at one time, this is what it looked like. Now we've gone through this period where there was really no enforcement and/or, kind of self-sign off
Here's
on
the
different
problems
things.
we have created.
Right, and we're starting to get those customers coming into the building and zoning department saying, hey, I just had this brand new home built and now, now this is happening and, who inspected it? Can you show me, all these different, and so I told the board last week, I said, now we have to really start and say, did we do any benefit by getting rid of the enforcement and allowing people to do it on their own? Or is this something that as a county, we need to say, hey, we have to have at least one person on staff here that's gonna be out here going and doing inspections for people and making sure that, they are living up to, all the building codes that are in there, all the zoning ordinances that are in there. This issue that we had in Malvern ongoing with an extraction permit, we're running a number of trucks through town, being able to go out there and shut sites down like that and make sure that they get permits and are paying their fair share.
So Matt, when people come in and say that there hasn't been any checks and balances, and we thought if you've got a good developer, a good contractor, they're the ones that you need to trust. Do they go back to their developer or the person who built the house and say, hey, you didn't build this wall right, or?
They can, if they can still get in touch with them. So, pieces that happens in areas like this is, it's not necessarily your good home builders. You have Mark Hughes and everybody out building and they're getting third-party inspections, in their properties right now as they're constructing them. So, but you'll have builders that find out they're not doing any inspections. So maybe I'll start going down there and building the houses. And it could be the little things
That's what I was worried
that
about.
they skimp on.
Yeah.
that wind up causing a lot of damage, foundation drains, drains in the egress windows. And then, the first big rain you have, somebody's basement floods and they're, kind of taken aback by what happened here. Well, then they find out that they didn't have a drain in their egress window. Insulation standards. There's all different kinds of ways that, you can just cut just a little bit here, a little bit there, make yourself a little bit more money in the short term, but you're costing somebody's, a lot in the long run. And we always catch those stories on that back side of it. When the damage is done, somebody's purchased a house, and your home purchase is usually one of the biggest will be the biggest investment you ever make. And so they sunk everything they have into that purchase of it. And now they find out that, well, I got, my basement flooded, but my insurance won't cover it because it's a flood and I was up on a hill. And so now I'm out of, I have to figure out how to pay for that myself. And so they're looking for us for some kind of remedy. At that point in time, we don't have really a remedy for them because we have their inspection card saying, well, sorry, it signed off on you about your contractor, and then they have to try to find attorneys and things like that. So that's why the enforcement is, it is important. It levels, and the good contractors will tell you that it really helps level the playing field for them because they're hiring licensed contractors. They're putting in all of the pieces of the foundation and structure that they need to, insulation standards, everything that costs a little bit more, they're doing. And it's those ones that come in and they might miss that bid by a couple $1,000s because they're doing it right. And those guys like, well, I can save them.
I think what we were after was that would have been one less thing the county would have been responsible for. I think we wanted to give it a try and to see, and if you trust your contractor, well, then if they didn't do it right, they should come back and put it in right. But as we can see, we've got some of them that you're never gonna see them again.
And for the overlay district, when it comes to those areas, and for some of those big developers that are coming there, even the smaller people that we have, like the guys down there in the shed right now, they're trying their best to go through the process. So you're trying to hold their hand the best that they can to go through the process and to get them to meet that piece of it. But just getting those smaller ones to get you some engineered plans and site development requirements, it's a lot on them. But in the end, it would be a nice trailer sales area for that place. But we do need to have those pieces that go back and say, okay, this is your site plan, these are the trees that you're gonna plant. Let's get them planted. 6 months later, did they take? Is there some that you have to pull back out and put in some new things? Just to make sure that you keep the visual aspect of the I-29, I-34 corridor where the
It's the entry into our county.
What's that?
It's our entry into our county.
Absolutely.
So,
Larry kind of hit on one of my concerns is, but from like a practical timeline, one of my concerns is we remove the overlay now, and it's really been the only thing that's kind of helping us keep away bad projects because we don't really have a process in place. But then, in 6 weeks or whatever, we've got an election, things change. Matt's only on contract, he's not a permanent employee. Suddenly, like last year when we tried to update chapter 24, I think, nothing happens. So
We don't even know where it's at now.
yeah,
It's gotta be on somebody's
my
desk.
concern is you're gonna remove this, and then there's a good possibility that this whole process just stalls out and nothing's really changed except for the fact that we removed the overlay, which has really been our only protection for some things. Because and I keep going back to Bungie app, but you've seen there as somebody goes to Jake to get we got one form they fill out to get a street access, and then to separate the property, and then they come in for a building permit, and it's been all kind of not disjointed, but there's not a process where everybody gets together because they're not plating a lot, they're not connecting to water and sewer, which I think we should force people to connect to water. We have water and sewer in this area, they should be forced to connect to it to help complete our network. But there just isn't that process in place.
Got it.
And I think there's a real possibility that just because of the timing and where things are going, that maybe we don't have put that process in place. And so that's my main concern from an economic development perspective is that,
So you don't agree with this?
no, I trust, like, I also trust Matt, I think,
I
but
know.
like I said, I don't know when his
Matt knows what
contract,
he's
I don't know
doing.
when his contract runs out, and I don't know if the county's gonna renew it, because there'll be different people in
Absolutely.
place. And, you know, I don't know, I think that's my concern that we start this process and then it titters out, it gets stalled, just like
Got it.
the last time, so.
The bathtub was a great example. There's a reason why they're coming to Mills County. It's not allowed in Sarpy County anymore. So what's happening is, in my opinion, Mills County, we've waited a long time. We've had some positive things happen on the interchange stuff. But we got a lot of land available. Things are starting to come our way. Now, is it gonna happen? Who knows? I mean, is a mega site gonna happen? Who knows? But we're the only site in Iowa, pretty much, that has a mega site. So the state's pretty excited about it. If that landed, that could create all kinds of things. But if we don't have these rules and regulations in place like the contiguous counties around us do, we're gonna get the crap.
Right.
Now, maybe that's what you want, but I don't think it is. I think our standards are higher. So what we want to be careful of is that we're not lowering our standards.
Too
And now we
much.
start, but your comment about warehousing, quite honestly, that's kind of one of the things we think would be the best out there. With the levees the way they are, and as it gets wet, you may have to raise some of those up and we'll work on it, but that's a whole different issue. But, that, a lot of warehousing can bring in a lot of tax dollars. I mean, it's property tax. You build a 100,000 square foot warehouse or distribution center, it's gonna generate a lot of tax depending upon
True.
discussion.
But I'm always after the jobs too. Some of the warehouses don't
No, they don't
pay
produce,
a
true,
lot of jobs.
that's true, but,
That's what I'm concerned
they
about.
pay a lot of property tax, but.
Yeah.
So we can have a mix out there, but you just don't want it to go backwards and have
Yes.
just things that kind of, in my opinion, don't look particularly good. And then, see, what I worry about is, and that gets folks that were looking at coming here saying, I don't really want to go there because it doesn't look very good. So I'll just go somewhere else that's a little more attractive. So it's just something to think about. The enforcement thing is the key. Matt's not going to be here forever. Hope you're here for, you're relatively young,
Yeah.
about another 30 years maybe.
I'm open.
Well, I was gonna say, I think 30.
So we got plenty of time,
So we
but,
You just need another
Andrew's
back
only gonna be here
surgery.
another 3 days. So, it's just something to think about. The enforcement thing is the key. And quite frankly, you guys are the ultimate enforcers. The buck stops with you guys, so.
Right.
And we do have to get chapter 24 updated.
We do.
That's gotta
John,
be,
do you know, is that on your desk? We gotta dig that up and get it going again. Do you know who's got chapter 24?
It's in the attorney's office. I don't know whose desk has it, but you guys took it down there.
Let's get that thing,
So we have to find it.
okay. Let's get that going.
because
We only
I
started that back in July.
started a draft version of it to get it up to where 24 should be at, and then it's the same with the subdivision ordinance. Like I started a draft version of that as well. And somewhere along the line in the subdivision ordinance, the planning commission got pulled out of it for review of preliminary plats. And you as the board of supervisors should want the planning commission to review those preliminary plats and then offer recommendations, much like so I took these zoning ordinances, I took them to the planning commission first, had the planning commission offer a recommendation of either approval or denial to the board of supervisors. Either way, on the recommendation, it comes to the board of supervisors. And that, you want that to be the same for your subdivisions. You want them to review those preliminary plats. So then that way it gets our office involved. Does it meet the county standards on this? Then we take that, we take the planning commission, they offer the recommendation on it, and then we bring it to you all for your approval on those. And then that review just makes sure that it's an enforcement piece of it to make sure that you are meeting county subdivision standards and any green space requirements, whatever the case may be, before you all get to your approvals of it. So that was cut out of the subdivision ordinance at some point in time. You gotta get that added back into it. And so there's 2 more ordinance changes that
Okay.
will be forthcoming to you.
Okay.
on that.
Good.
Andrew, didn't you work up a highlighted deal on chapter 24.
Yeah,
Last July?
That's
That
what they
Richard,
have.
when we
That's what they
started
have.
this?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but that's my, yeah, and that's my only comment is like, let's not stop, let's not do this and then not finish out all the other things, because it is, it's like, as Matt's explaining, it's kind of they're all connected. You
Exactly
gotta
right.
create that process of oversight and enforcement. But, yeah,
Okay.
we've got landscape, requirements, but I've never seen them in the few projects that we've done the last couple of years. I've never seen anybody enforce any tree planting or anything, or buffer yards or anything like that. So-
Really? Okay.
Well, I don't know, if you look at Echo, I don't know, I haven't seen them plant any trees yet, but. I don't know.
Okay. Amy, you have anything from either oral or,
no written or oral.
okay?
Grace, are you here for any?
She's on the agenda.
For the what?
For Girl Masters.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I meant you were. Okay, so I move to close the hearing at 8:41.
I'll second. Roll call,
Crouch,
yes.
Benton,
Yes.
Okay, next on the agenda is the motion to deny or accept public hearing.
I make a motion to accept the public hearing.
I'll second that motion. Been a motion made and seconded to accept public hearing. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call,
Crouch,
yes.
Benton,
Yes.
So I will do this one today, and then we will, so the next steps in this would be, we're gonna publish this on it'll get published September 25th and 26th, and then, it will be recorded on October 4th.
Okay.
they've got an update on that.
Okay. Next up is chapter 27, as we discussed.
That's what this says, you haven't accepted it, right? So that's it.
We've accepted it, now we go ahead and, is the motion to sign it then? or-
We make another motion for it?
You haven't moved to accept the actual chapter, the revisions yet. That's
Oh,
what
for the
this is
chapter, okay.
You accepted the public hearing, now
Got
we have to accept the chapter 27.
And I so, make a motion to accept the chapter 27.
There's a motion made and seconded to accept revisions, chapter 27, of Mills County zoning ordinance. Any other discussion? Roll call,
Crouch,
yes.
Benton,
Yes.
You want me to sign that before he puts it in the paper or not?
yeah. you can sign it. He's got that ready for you.
You have a signature page or just sign
Yeah,
it
it's on
on?
the last page.
Just to let you know, I love cursing. My granddaughter told me you're not connecting your eye, grandpa. So my signature may not be any good, Matt, so watch
She's
out.
teaching herself cursive,
It's
so
just that it's becoming a lost art.
She thinks it's kind of cool, but I've always, some people should be able to sign
They
their
made
name.
it so that, well, they gotta be able to bring the Bill of Rights and Constitution if you don't know cursive.
my father at 100 had the most beautiful cursive handwriting, but in those days, they had handwriting every day.
finish Jake.
Oh, yeah.
I'll publish that for you.
Don't go away, man.
Cool.
Okay.
My turn?
Yeah.
Just wanted to bring up some things I wanted to put in front of you next week. Been talking with company from, it's Verizon, it's the temporary traffic signals.
Oh, yeah.
And that I've been having meetings back and forth with them too now, and emails about different options and whatnot, and so got a updated quote with all the options that we're looking to get, so I'm gonna bring that in front of you guys next week. The total quote is coming in right at about 70,000. And again, that's us getting the 60,000 grant money. And then I budgeted 70,000 for it, so we're right in that ballpark. I mean, almost exactly.
Jake, is this the one that we're gonna share with Montgomery County? Okay.
So I want to bring that forward to you guys to get it signed and put on order, and it's about 3 weeks, so we wouldn't be making that payment until after October 1st.
What are they putting into this, Montgomery County?
Nothing.
Oh.
They didn't have any obligation for any dollar amount. It's just part of the grant application. You have to go and join with neighboring county. It's ours. We can make all the decisions on it, and we have a resolution with them. Basically, it just says if we're not using it and they request it,
Oh.
we let them use it. So if we're using it,
Then you
sorry,
just-
that's exactly. Yeah. After 10 years. So if we're not using it,
Okay,
we're obligated to let them use it.
that's good.
They come get it, take it, use it, bring it back. So it's no cost to us. It's just if we're not
Okay.
using it.
Good.
And then also, we put in a grant for our IRM program for a boom mower. We did receive that grant for $15,000.
Good job.
We put in a grant for $3,000 for a attachment to a skid loader that is a tree grip remover, kind of comes in, puts the trees, and lift them out. It's good for removing cedar trees that are popping up in the right of way and stuff like that. We did receive $3,000 for that. So with the boom mower, it's also, we're just gonna do a package deal, get with a new tractor, boom mower attached. The grant will pay just $15,000 for that actual mower part. So I'd like to bring that in to you guys with resolution next week, stating that we commit to accepting that grant and doing the match on that, putting that boom mower and other attachment on order. But again, we wouldn't pay for that until it comes in. I believe they said for the mower, 32 weeks, I believe is what I heard, so. We probably won't have it for this brush cutting season, but we'll have it for next. And that's one of the things, since day one I come in here, people have complained about that piece of equipment. It's 20-year-old tractor and the controls for the boom mower, they would like the joystick, and right now they're levers. And it's probably, I've had a lot of people say, you know, if you had better controls there, the guys would probably use it a lot more. It's a good piece of equipment to have, especially when we need it, so.
Are you gonna
Getting
trade
the
it
new
off?
Controls.
Are you gonna keep it and trade it?
Yeah, we'll trade it. So we've talked to them with the traded value of what we need. I think we're actually got slightly under budget. We have 220,000 budgeted. I think we're gonna be close to the 200 range.
Good job.
And I can attest, running 3 levers to operate one boom is no fun.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't personally done it, but just listening to the guys. You know, and then we looked at, well, if you just get the joystick controls, I mean, it's a pretty significant amount to do that because we have to change a lot of the other components. And then we're putting it on a 20-year-old tractor. It's kind of up to being traded in anyway, so that's why we just budgeted for the full package. We'll be good for at least another 20 years.
Super. Great job. I like that grant.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah, everything we applied for since we did our iron program, we've been working. So
Yeah, it's been good.
it's really helping out.
And then the resolution will come next week.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
So just wanted to kind of put that in front of you.
okay,
Thank you, Jake.
great job.
Hope to see you tomorrow.
Absolutely.
You guys are free.
I got a map of finance, but I'll come as soon as then. I can start early.
Somebody took care of your chair.
I will be there.
Okay,
Maybe I'll bring my water.
we, just so we're jumping around.
And then.
See ya.
Just come real quick.
Hey,
You're working long enough.
Chris,
Yes, you have to come up
Hot
and
seat.
sit.
On the hot seat, okay.
Oh, sure.
Sure. Okay. We are requesting, so for Shop Hop, is November 1st and 2nd. Grill Masters has acquired a food trailer. Last year we were in one of the buildings, but this year with food trailer, we would like to be able to use it. Well, are requesting or asking if we could use a corner of your parking lot out front here. We would not block any traffic. We can back the trailer right up in that corner, have our truck sitting there with our extra supplies and be right there and out of your way. So,
how about power?
generator.
Woo,
No power,
good girl.
use our generator.
Okay,
So that's the only request I would have, that you couldn't park in front of the building, you know, to,
And I understand you guys are open that Saturday for voting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we would be, we kind of, that corner
And
over
most
there.
people have to, well, I'll have to enter here except for our department.
Dress room. And we would,
Fire department would be
yeah,
here, but everybody
absolutely.
else,
So our window would face out to the parking lot, so actually it would be just back up right in that corner and we shouldn't take any too much space, whatever 24-foot trailer's gonna take.
and then they can park to grab their sandwich
Yep,
just around
so they
there.
can go around
That's
the
a
square,
great
and with
corner.
Shop Hop, most people walk, hopefully with the weather's nice.
Right,
So then we would just have people walk up to us unless weather, then they'll just, obviously drive up to us, so.
Yeah.
Yes, you'll have food for
Very
them
nice for the day.
today.
and we
might
get a
want
free
to catch a few
sandwich.
more voters.
Right.
Oh, of course, we'll make it
I'll
happen.
make sure it's down.
I don't even have to worry
We'll
about
put that in the minute.
We're gonna be
Yes, what you
Well, I make a motion to approve the permission for the front parking during Shop Hop for the Grill Masters catering. What's the hours on that?
Friday, noon to 6 maybe.
Okay,
Carol, I don't know, I'm sorry. I gotta get through next couple weeks with weddings. Saturday, I think is 10 to 3 or 5. So, which means we would probably be here an hour and a half before, just to get set up
Mhm.
and get stuff going.
Okay.
And same on Saturday.
Okay, there's been a motion made and seconded to allow the grill masters to use the west end of the parking lot November 1st and 2nd, Friday and Saturday. And seconded. All those in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, bye guys.
We'll jump.
Was
Okay, we're just.
that
No, these are yours. These are, copies of this, but these are the actual ones. I did these on.
Good morning, Diego. How are you?
Good morning.
Good to see you again.
Just, you should have the correct box, so I just wanna make sure you have the land use agreement and then you have your two resolutions. Yep.
Oh, too late.
So we're doing this one first, correct?
Yeah.
Mr. Attorney, would you can make your presence up here in Lonnie's chair if you would, please. We might have a few questions for you. Well, I
Oh,
never,
Larry,
I never do
you wanna come up too?
No, we're good. Yeah, I'm good.
I can give you,
Is that-
okay, which one do you need? This one, okay. It's not, just, you'll have to put your own things in here just so you know, because I don't have your,
Okay. You guys start talking, I need to get this off first.
okay, okay.
See, Judy. John copies.
Do you want, here,
Yeah, thanks, Bill.
there you are,
Thank you, honey.
you're welcome.
Yeah, that's.
This was taken before the planning and zoning board, right, the other night,
Correct,
and discussed.
yes.
And I had talked with Nick Jameson, the chairman, on this, and he more or less told me that they really didn't have any problems with it, and that they would send it back to the Board of Supervisors for approval. I've read through this, I have talked to other attorneys, some attorneys that, you know, work on annexation, and, because the word annexation seems to throw everybody a curve. And what we're actually doing with the annexation doesn't amount to
It's a separate process.
what you would call annexation. I mean, the way it reads or
Right.
proposed.
So this has nothing to do with the annexation process. This is saying that Mills County and the city of Council Bluffs, which already has the agreement with Potawatomi County, understand that within our 2-mile limit, we are going to have a 28E agreement that allows us to say that chapter 6 of the land use study is applicable to Mills County, and that you understand that the portions of that chapter 6 will trigger things on your planning team side to consult with the city of Council Bluffs as per state code when we have zoning in place, the 2-mile jurisdiction comes into play. So really what this 2080 agreement, it has absolutely nothing to do with the annexation process. That is a completely separate, this is just saying that you understand that land use is important. We've identified this corridor and gives the jurisdiction to the city of Council Bluffs and Mills County based on the map, that we're going to agree that anything that's outlined in these different colors, we're going to follow the process that's outlined in chapter 6. So for example, the blue, which if you're looking at the map, there's significant areas of the blue. The city of Council Bluffs says, you know what, we understand that's probably not where development's going to happen, that Council Bluffs is more concerned with. We want to give that to the county to control. So for example, we see that happening as acreages and farmland and things like that. We don't need to have consulting ability in those areas. What we're really concerned with is the stuff in this red color, and those are the areas that we've talked about significantly, and that you understand also are prime for redevelopment.
And more than likely would be requesting city services,
Correct.
whether that's water or sanitary sewer. Or also we hear a lot the benefit of our fire protection. You know, if they have a large investment, they're gonna want to have fire protection from Council Bluffs.
And you're so right, you guys, you know, even though it would cost the county $40-50 million to get water and sewer out to the Bungie area. However, that was my number one concern is how would we get fire and safety out there that our poor volunteer guys, they're worn out the way it is. And of course, Pacific Junction, we have nothing now. So that was one of my big
And we have
concerns.
the equipment and the trained professional full-time fire force
Sure.
that, you know, we respond to SIRE that's not in city limits of Council Bluffs. It's in Potawatomi County, but volunteer fire forces should not respond to a fire at SIRE, you know,
That big.
large chemical
Sure.
fires or explosions, that sort of thing.
The other thing to remember is this is triggered by the subdivision process or utilities. So let's say we have somebody that comes in, Mills County says we can't serve you, but we think Council Bluffs can. That's where we would potentially step in and we could provide services. But also this whole chapter is triggered by subdivision. So if no action is taken, if there's a quarter section and they're just saying, yep, I'm gonna do something here, that does not give Council Bluffs any jurisdiction. That can stay with Mills County. The triggering factor is the subdivision action itself, that we're gonna refer to this map and we're gonna say, okay, this is in a growth area, 1B, yep, we would like consultation before anything happens here. Or, you know what, this is in a county growth area 1, go ahead, county, there's nothing that we don't see this as an area that we want to comment. So it really is just putting in the goals of what we're trying to achieve as a region and making sure that we have policies in place that we can follow so that as a group, as a metro area, Mills County, Potawatomi County, City of Council Bluffs, we're able to make the best decisions for our population.
And those taxes will go to Lewis Central and our school, correct?
The taxes do not change because we're not talking about annexation.
Oh,
So,
yeah, that's right.
so there's no
If
change.
something-
No
if-
change.
If there was a subdivision through that process, if there was a subdivision that did annex
Mhm.
into Council Bluffs, then it would have Council Bluffs tax and whatever school district it happens to be in, and, of course, the Mills County tax. But that's just for properties that do annex.
Mhm.
There may be properties that request an agreement with us to annex in the future, an annexation agreement, at such time that our boundaries reach their property. Because we can't leapfrog and annex people that aren't contiguous to our city limits. But there may be, a user may come along and say, well, I'm not attached to the city, but I'll sign this agreement to be annexed someday. So it gives us a
So
tool to
you
be
have-
flexible with these.
So I've been
opportunities.
approached, you're bringing water to this industry. 2-mile radius, and if somebody wanted rural water from you guys, and they're out of that 2-mile radius, they cannot do that, correct?
So
How does
that's
that
where
go now?
you get into,
As you know,
Yeah.
190th is
we,
pure iron water.
we have talked, I think they probably agree, we've all learned a lot about water districts and how they work. City, Council Bluffs Waterworks has everything within the corporate limits of Council Bluffs, and then they have a rural district, I'll call it, that goes a little bit to the north, and,
Like a service territory.
Yeah, kinda like a
For lack of a better term.
Yes.
I don't know
But
what they
doesn't
call
it
it.
come out of Avoca?
no, that is, so that's the one that they work. So you have Council Bluffs with their rural water service area that they have, and then you have regional water, which is out of Avoca.
That's regional.
And, right, and
Okay.
so the water companies, the municipality, those companies really come together and write agreements with one another and say, hey, I'm gonna service this area and you're gonna service that area. But as your community grows, as Council Bluffs would grow or Glenwood would grow, right, that municipality gets to then bring in those utilities that are in that area, pre them growing to it. If there's caveats to that though, so if, let's say Glenwood municipalities came in and they put in a water line that ran up somewhere where Council Bluffs eventually annexed it. If there's no loan on that line, then Council Bluffs Waterworks can pay Glenwood municipality whatever the cost is of that line. If there's a loan on that line, then Glenwood municipalities get to maintain that line until their loan is paid off on it. So the regional guys were pretty open with us, and they're like, and they go, so we just keep refinancing our loans. To keep loans on those lines, the way it goes, like very rarely does anybody ever get rid of a water line like that. So that's why the agreements are in place like that. This 2-mile agreement, Council Bluffs, every community in the state of Iowa has a 2-mile ETJ for subdivision purposes. Council Bluffs is a border community, so it has like a 180-degree line. Would have a circle that goes all the way around it. Pacific Junction has circles that go all the way around it, shown in our land use plan. So their 2-mile radius already dips down into Mills County. And so that red line there, anybody who would approach the county by the subdivision within that red line area should be sent to the city of Council Bluffs. and have the city council plus approve that subdivision before any action were to ever happen down here. These 2080 agreements are great because the city puts a lot of thought into it. We paid a lot of money for this study between Potawatomi County and Council Bluffs. So the city says, listen, we can actually, this is our area that we believe we'll ever be able to develop out and provide services to. So then they release back to the county, then the blue shaded areas, and say, you go ahead and handle subdivisions that have happened in that area. You don't even necessarily need to contact us on them because they're not in our growth area. But so that gives, of the 2 mile area that extends down into Mills County, that gives a large portion of it back to Mills County to just have that subdivision control over. And then the city of Council Bluffs, if a property owner would come in that red area and say, hey, I want to divide my property, or move property line, anything like that, the easiest thing for us to do is just say, well, go to, here's our 2 mile map, go talk to the city of Council Bluffs, and then the city of Council Bluffs, and then we go on that. Usually what I would do, we'll send an email over to City Council Bluffs saying, hey, we just have this person in there, and splitting your property up, they're gonna come talk to you. And then they'll show up at City Council Bluffs, and the City Council Bluffs would email back and say, here's our decision, this is what we're gonna do on the property, just to keep everybody in the loop of what's going on. But the 2 mile agreement works, the 2 mile agreements like this work out really well. The annexation agreement tool that we started using, we've done that a couple of different times. It's worked out really well.
Our previous agreement with Potawatomi County essentially had what I called annexation or no was our answer. That's what the policy said. Like, if you cannot annex immediately, then we have to say no to your subdivision. With this new agreement, we now say, yes, if you can't annex right away and your subdivision's just a little far off, you can enter into an annexation agreement that someday you will annex. And then that gives them the ability to develop now versus the answer being no.
Because very rarely, right, do you get a person, if you look on your map, very rarely on the county line there, the city border, very rarely do you get that developer comes in that's right on the city line.
Right.
That wants to do the development, they're always a couple 40s south of there. And so the city can't quite get to them.
We have to annex through 4 of their neighbors.
Right.
Which,
You have 4 to 10 property owners by the time you get there, and
Yeah.
so, but they may need to, maybe they have 40 and they just need to divide it in half for this development to come in there. And we have no way to say yes to that. Well, now the city has that ability to say, okay, we'll have you sign this annexation agreement, voluntary annexation. You can go ahead and split your property now, the development can happen now, and when we get to you, then we'll, at that point in time, your property voluntary annexes into the city. And that has stopped a lot of frustration points and helped a lot of projects move along with that.
But I come from Vinton Equipment on 190th Street, and that's just pure iron water. So my line was flooded when they said, hallelujah, can we still get water from Council Bluffs? I mean, they are tired of waiting. And they're tired of their new homes are now yellow outside because the water had leaked. And it's awful. It tastes awful. Your clothes it's just a bad deal. So they're crying to get some good water. So I'm just telling you guys, hopefully maybe later they can.
I would just say, because we're talking a lot about water, Council Bluffs Waterworks is technically its own entity. So the city of Council Bluffs it's a quasi-government. So they actually have their own board. They're actually not managed by the city. So we don't get to control where Council Bluffs Waterworks extends to. I think that as we're looking at some of these extensions that are happening, obviously we need loops in the system for its own benefit. So there might be some opportunities there, but again, the city of Council Bluffs doesn't really get to say where Council Bluffs Waterworks goes.
And a lot of it hinges on those service territories that they have with the rural water providers that we, the city, don't get to. Man,
Nobody fully understands them.
it's still a lot of curtains and stuff.
Well, we've been on JEO for years to say, we gotta get water out there, and nobody wanted to do anything, and now, I don't know how far we're starting, but they're frustrated, and I so feel it.
Yeah, and it's also very difficult because developments, extensions are development driven. So we have to have a reason to get out to those places, and when it's
Sure.
already built out, it's very difficult cost-wise to do. So, depending upon how many houses there are, depending upon how, everything is, the more expensive it is based on how many things are connecting to it. So, if I live in a subdivision with 40 units and we're able to spread that cost out, it's cheaper for me. But if it's just me connecting or just a row of houses, the extensions just get infinitely more expensive, which is also why we want to make sure that we're developing in a way that every quarter section is getting something on it instead of leapfrogging, where we're going out super far to something that's not contiguous with our borders. And we have to make that extension because it's just that much more expensive for everyone else that comes in after. So that's the hope of the land use study, is making sure that we're consciously developing in a way that's beneficial to the entire region. And that's the point of the land use agreement and the 28E agreement that we're asking you to adopt today.
Yeah, we got any comments, questions, or?
Nothing to add. I mean, the 20E will accomplish what was laid out.
Okay.
So you would be at, just to make sure that we are understanding, so you're asking to amend your comprehensive plan to adopt chapter 6
Mhm.
as part of your comprehensive plan, and then also adopting the 2080 agreement.
There's both resolutions and then the 2080 is the third.
Correct.
Yeah. And these are basically working together, not annexation at this time. This is just working together.
Correct. That is just putting in place the policies so that within our 2-mile limit of jurisdiction of Council Bluffs, we have a plan in place that will be identified in chapter 6.
Well, I make a motion to approve the chapter 6 land use agreement.
And Carol, you can write in resolution 24-28.
Okay.
And then after that's accepted, then just
24-20. Okay.
I will second that motion. Been a motion made and seconded to accept chapter 6 land use agreement as in resolution 24-28 for Mills County, in the city of Council Bluffs. Is there any further discussions, questions, concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Number 17, right?
Isn't it tonight we're supposed to have some solar eclipse that I've read on Facebook? It's supposed to,
It's in the blood moon.
oh, it's a blood moon?
Blood moon.
I'm safe. It's a good night to do on it.
It was huge last night.
It was.
Kind of the cloud is a little eerie.
Okay, Carol. On the next one is 24.29 for resolution. On where it says 2080 resolution of the city of Council Bluffs.
Okay,
That's listed as 24-29 resolution. Number wise.
all right, so do I say the 28E resolutions with the city?
No, this is different. This is
So this is 24-29.
yeah, it's just a resolution to that you're working with the 28.
Yeah, this is adopting the amendment to your comprehensive plan.
Okay, adopting, I make a motion to approve the adoption of the 24-29 resolution with,
Amending your comprehensive plan to include chapter 6 of the land use study.
chapter 6. Did you get it? Okay.
teamwork.
It is.
It's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful.
You wanna make sure it was worded right. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
Then you, it's just not number by yours. There's your number.
okay. Yay or nay, Richard? What do you think?
We've already started it. We can't.
Well, I made the motion.
Well, I didn't really,
I was gonna say, are we?
I'm sitting here waiting for you.
I was waiting for you. We were all looking at you.
Oh, well.
No, I made the motion.
Okay, there's been a motion made and a motion seconded to,
Here we go.
adopt an amending resolution 24-29 for the city of Council Bluffs and for, county of Mills. Any further discussion, questions? Not all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Nice, I think, 2018.
Jack, am I keeping this all straight? Am I doing okay?
think so. Please order.
So that I think you can just sign, because you already passed your resolution, I think.
The 28.
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
So so we will take this to our next city council meeting, and adopt the 2080 agreement. That'll go on our Monday, city council meeting. So then we'll have everything passed on our side as well.
Okay, question, do I or one of us need to be there?
I don't think so. If you'd like to come, we have study session at 3:45 in the afternoon on Mondays. So that they can ask any questions of staff and anybody that's there. Otherwise, our city council meeting's at 7 p.m.
Okay.
But I'm
At the
not sure.
courthouse,
City Hall.
City Hall.
And I'll be at both of those sessions, the 3:45 and the 7 p.m.
Well, we thank you much,
Yes,
very
thank
much.
you
for
both. I appreciate it.
On Monday, right?
Yes.
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 Take this with you.
Getting
Sure.
things in progress,
Yep, I can do that. Thank you.
getting things done, wrapped up, we can move forward.
I think this is very important for the future of Mills County. I think if we don't see anything within the first year from an economic development standpoint, we'll see something within the next 5 years for sure. There's always a lot of interest in this vicinity. And I think the drawback a lot of times ends up being provision of utilities, et cetera. And I think this will play a big role in making that whole area more viable for those economic development projects, which definitely benefits Mills County and Council Bluffs,
Right.
especially from a property tax standpoint. So
You know, I'm saying
Thank
we
you.
lost 700 jobs at the GRC and our families are scampering. They're trying so hard to stay in the area. So for 360 jobs, whatever, you can't throw that out the window. You gotta work together.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you, folks.
All right,
have a great day.
hopefully I'll see you
Once
Monday.
this is executed, our city clerk will get it uploaded to the state so that it's recorded as the 2080 agreement.
Perfect.
Okay,
Perfect.
thank you so much. Thank you.
All right.
Hey, Garrett, I'll do that right when I get there.
So would you, Sheila, or can we just do you guys one cruise on that? Is she coming in?
Well, first the meeting, so,
Just throwing it out
Yeah,
there.
she'll come
General.
in.
Okay.
Hey,
The only thing they
Thanks,
did
Matt.
to move around was the.
Matt.
Tell Jill we're ready for her.
Jill?
The treasurer. She's going, where's she at?
Well, he's still learning.
And you have the agreement with the,
We might as well do,
I can approve, yeah, I have it.
do you have any questions, any concerns?
No, as a quick clarification, I know Carol had signed this, but in the future, any, contract that's being enacted, like agreement between parties that involves, like, the counties requires the board to sign off, unless there's discussion like prior on the record that authorizes another member, it has to be signed by the board chair, but it's the same one we discussed. Those providing, scope of services, prevent crime, detect and apprehend criminals, facilitate the orderly movement of traffic and enforce the laws of the state of Iowa. The Millis County Sheriff's Department intends to provide assistance for safe traffic flow in and around the I-29 Speedway during the requested special event dates specified by I-29 Speedway, and agreed to by the Millis County Sheriff's Department. And then when it comes to billing, a invoice will be prepared and submitted to designee I-29 Speedway. Within 14 days, they pay in full attention to the Mills County Auditor's Office and reimburse for the services.
Okay.
I've added line there. You can just put your Johnny Hancock chair and then print name, and it needs to be dated there and on the first page.
Are you guys gonna vote on this?
Yeah, they use that.
I make a motion to approve the contract for the ice cream cruise. Sign the I-29 contract.
I'll second that. The motion made and seconded. Sign a contract for the I-29 ice cream cruise. Are there any other discussions, concerns?
So I'm just gonna state that the contract just is basically like you said, it's just the repayment of the use of the sheriff's department for any.
Yeah,
If
they'll
they-
send
if
an
there's
invoice
any-
and then they have
right.
14 days to pay it.
Right, that's all the contract is. You're not taking any other responsibility.
Do you know if they contact the stoplight companies so they can control the traffic on that? Have you
I
heard
don't-
anything more?
I don't know what Doug has done about that,
Okay.
if anything. That's
I didn't know if he
his
had
initiative.
more meetings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions, concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. So Jill, you want to do what now? You're always wanting to,
I don't want to do it.
There she
I have to do it. It's Steel Beacon. It's resolution 2427. Due to the development agreement with Steel Beacon and Council Bluffs, we have agreed that they will stay at $6 million valuation.
just name,
Yeah, it's state.
And they also had a credit come over from last year in the amount of $29,290.93. So we are going to need to abate $182,490.47 in taxes. Their total taxes this year were $256,514. Also on your sheet with the agreement on it that needs to be signed is where we came up with those numbers. So the first half, they will have $7,721 due. Second half, they'll have $37,012 due for a total taxes of $44,733. And they do pay 100% of the drainage. There is no abatement or anything on the drainage. They do pay 100% of that.
Which
And then-
is,
That was like $4,000 and some dollars,
okay,
and that has to be paid by the end of this
or they do have late penalties on it.
Okay. So they only will be paying us $44,733.
That
That's
was,
what you're telling me.
yes. As they had the credit of the $29,290 in
Out
that.
of $256,000. And if we don't do this, what happens?
They'll probably sue us because we signed an agreement with them that we would do this.
Are you busy for the next couple months? Never pisses me off.
Be longer than that,
Yeah.
How long is the agreement?
10 years.
10 years.
Yes,
Right.
it will expire in 2031.
We never talked about it, about
Nothing,
it.
nothing. Maybe we'd have a case to stand up. So. All right, as much as I hate to do this. I make a motion to approve the resolution of 24-27 of the steel beacon abate tax. Do I have to say the figures to make it some worse? So out of 256,514, they have a credit of 29,291. The first half, they only had to pay $7,721. The second half, $37,012, with a total of $44,733 is all they need to pay. Not a happy camper.
I will second your motion. Is there any further discussion, questions? Not all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carried.
You sign
No,
just the messenger.
She's not happy.
Thank-
Don't
thank
shoot the
you.
messenger. You know how I am with money.
She has not been happy with anybody that signed it.
Are they still brutal, Jill? Had a good week?
Good week money wise.
Okay.
People are paying, a lot of them paying full year, so we're very fortunate there.
Wow.
And, of course, you know, the usual. I pay your wages, let's see. How come my taxes went up and the guy behind him in line, how come mine went down?
well,
that's a
that
little-
makes me feel real good.
That's a little hard to explain, but we try our best. Do you want me to hold that till Lonnie can sign it, or?
Too bad Lonnie isn't here today. We had a lot of stuff to discuss on, didn't we?
Jill, if you want to, that's fine.
Sign the original.
Is that here? Have Lonnie sign this before we,
I don't know.
or
Two of us
is
have signed
because
it.
two of
I mean,
them?
the other,
Well, two makes it into practice, but
Yeah,
we usually have them.
okay,
If it,
I'll catch him.
available. He's sick.
But otherwise, things are going well with the taxes coming in.
Good.
Still doing well with our CDs and the interest rate is gonna go down, but
You do?
yeah, so, but we're still setting pretty good. Modern Bank and Lewis State Bank have been very good to us, very good to us.
And we'll see what the Fed does tomorrow.
Is that the big day?
Yeah, they'll make, it'll be,
You do?
they'll make, 25 basis points, to 50 basis points.
Carol,
I guess 25.
Carol, it's voting time. What would you do?
I understand, but
Yeah,
I'm banking on some special stuff.
yeah.
I
So,
did sell out a bowling just at the right time.
there you go. There you go. So, but otherwise, we're doing great.
Good.
Things are coming in, so very busy, very, very busy. Mail has been off the charts, and
Wow.
which is good, so,
I'm doing a lot of online.
yes.
People like that.
We had, one of the, companies, CoreLogic, it's an escrow company, paid today, and they paid online, it's like $3 million. So yeah. So we're It's coming in, but as soon as it's coming in, it's gonna go right back out, so it'll be in the month with the vouchers, so,
Right.
a lot of it will, so, but otherwise, we're setting pretty good,
Okay.
so. You have any questions of me? Mr. Crouch, you got anything here?
Just keep up the good work.
Very proud of you.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Well, I know there's a lot of unhappy people and it ruins people's days real fast.
But then there's the next person that comes in and tells you you were made for this job and thank you, and so, yeah, it happens.
And you know, it's surprising how many people are not for childcare, daycare. My phone just blew up. Just can't believe it.
The schools too, it's funny, I had a guy say, I moved here from Minnesota, I don't have kids in school, why should I be paying for that school? And it's like, did you go to school when you were a kid? I mean, maybe somewhere else, but still, it's kind of.
I know, they don't think of that. No. Right. Or I don't have any little kids to go to daycare, so why should I care?
Or my grandkids aren't around here, so, yeah, I've heard that too.
It's all about me, me. But
Yeah, it is.
wow, I'm really surprised.
As it were.
I'm saddened because
Yes,
we fight for our families and our children and make them safe and
the one in Malvern is coming along very well,
it looks fabulous.
Yes,
When are they planning to open?
25, I think I saw.
Really?
Mhm.
Should be next fall,
Yeah, if everything goes right, that's what they're hoping anyway, so. that's-
July, August.
That's wonderful. Well, it sounds like they got a lot of families waiting.
Mhm. I think that's great.
Good for them.
Okay, well, I'll get out of your hair if you don't have
Okay.
anything else for me, so.
Sounds good.
All right, sounds good,
Thanks,
thanks,
Jill.
have a good day.
You too, honey.
Hi there.
Jill, how you doing?
Always good to see you,
Good to see you.
take care.
I know.
Anything from you guys?
You're talking about the, I mean, Richard knows about the resource center, lots that's going on up there. And the road coming off.
Is there anything else you guys need before?
Yeah, we're still on this, Larry, so.
Hang on.
Unless there's anything else you guys need before we get back down, because I'm the only one in the office today, so.
Oh, you're a one-man band?
Yeah, as of today, Lisa's out today, so I'm manning the phones while she's gone.
Well, thank you, John, appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
And in a spot of good news, I became an uncle for the second time about 7:38 this morning, so Jess's brother had his baby today, so.
Oh, my gosh.
Good for you.
Oh, cheers.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 9.
No,
No, we're not done.
We're not?
Fox Creek.
Oh, I guess we did skip over that.
Pass those in, Carol. So they sent us these 3 statements.
Richard, a little bit longer.
We had not gotten them, so they're all, of course, now passed. They said that all 3 of these stem from public health. Because I said we need to know what department. Got some pushback from the person who spoke with from Fox Creek in the beginning, and by the end of the conversation it was better, but
So
these are
the
additional.
grant writer is not going to help public health anymore, correct? Is this what is that what they're saying? They're not,
No, they're saying that nobody has reached out to them since these, but there's bills here that need to be paid and they all are from public health's department. We've already paid the ones that were.
I was gonna
that.
say, we paid our share.
Yes,
So this goes back on
and I've
public health.
sent them to them.
Okay.
So I'm assuming we will see them in the next claims, but they have not been sending them to our department at all, to anybody in the county except for yours, I assume your phone. Because they're not mailing anything. So I've got emails back and forth where Alyssa has said, we need to have them in our department, we need to know what, a breakdown of who's usually, who they go to.
Right.
And she got a lot of pushback from them on even that aspect of it. And so, yeah, we've received these and they're saying that they're all late. Well, they had never gave them to the county, so they're not.
They just showed up on my phone.
Yeah.
Fox Creek, no more.
Yeah, they showed up on his, on Lonnie's and mine. They said they'd already sent them to you is what they're
So-
saying.
Why don't they send this to public health?
Because they, what I was told is you three signed the contract with them, and they really only want to deal with you three. They don't. So I finally convinced them, they at least need to send it to our department, stating who utilized you, them,
Okay,
so we know, but I said, if you want us to pay your bills, we need to have the bills, we need to know. So,
well, let me turn around and give this to public health.
yeah, I put it in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know if we need any action on
I
it or
don't,
not.
I don't think so,
I
yeah.
would just say we discussed.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you could make a motion to move the bill on, but that doesn't make any difference.
I make a motion to move the Fox Creek bills to public health is, where they had helped them with grant writing. And so it comes out of that department.
Motion made and seconded to forward bills on to public health from Fox Creek. Grant writers, any further discussion, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to adjourn our supervisor meeting at 9:36.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn meeting at 9:36. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So Larry,